Let's rank the top 12 running backs in the SEC going into 2024. I've already done the quarterbacks in every conference. Then I did a full-on top 10 quarterbacks in the whole college football video. So if you haven't seen that, go watch those. I'm doing running backs now, then I'll do wide receivers, then I'll probably do defensive players. But yeah, here are the running backs. And I'm only doing top 12, so there's so many people I left off this list. Jam Miller at Alabama, Justice Haynes at Alabama, Le'Veon Moss and Reuben Owens at Texas A&M, Josh Williams at LSU. So many good running backs I had to leave off the top 12. Jaden Blue at Texas. The list goes on and on. Number 12, Logan Diggs, the new transfer to Ole Miss, transferred from LSU, and he's just coming off a really good season, over 650 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns in 10 games. His best season was actually when he was at Notre Dame, and he totaled over 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. But he will join the Ole Miss group of good running backs, and he should be one of the best ones. Number 11, Ulysses Bentley, another running back at Ole Miss. A surprisingly long career for Bentley. Spent 3 seasons at SMU, and now he's coming off his 2nd season at Ole Miss, and had a really good season last year for Ole Miss. He was RB2 behind Quinshon Judkins, and still tallied over 550 yards and 4 touchdowns. His best career year was probably 2020 at SMU, or 2021, where he tallied over 1,000 yards there, but a really good back. Number 10, Dylan Sampson at Tennessee, a pretty underrated running back. In 2 years at Tennessee, he has solidified himself as their go-to guy. Last season at Tennessee, he had over 600 rushing yards, 8 rushing touchdowns, and averaged over 6 yards a carry. Number 9, Nate Newell at Missouri, one of Missouri's 2 running backs that transferred over and should be a huge help for their running game. Nate Newell has spent the last 4 years at App State. This is going to be his 5th year as a college football running back, and he just balled out at App State. Last year, he had over 950 yards from scrimmage, but his best year was 2021 when he had over 1,150 yards and 4 touchdowns. Number 8, another transfer running back, Jinan Jackson at Arkansas. He transfers over from Utah, where he spent the last 3 years there, and he should fit very well in Bobby Petrino's system. It'll be fun to watch. He had over 800 yards rushing last season and 4 touchdowns. Number 7, Gavin Sawchuk at Oklahoma, a really underrated running back. Last year, he took the reins as RB1 at Oklahoma, had over 750 yards and 9 touchdowns. This year, as we all know, Oklahoma moves into the SEC, and their O-line is not really set up to go to the SEC just yet. A lot of new faces and a lot of new techniques to learn, but Gavin Sawchuk will help out that O-line a lot. Number 6, CJ Baxter at Texas. Last year, as a true freshman, he totaled over 800 yards and 5 touchdowns for Texas, and he had to carry a lot of the load when Jonathan Brooks, a star now in the NFL, went down the last few weeks of the season. But CJ Baxter stepped up, and Texas really did not miss a beat. This year, he will get majority of the reps, and Texas has so many expectations and just sky-high hopes for this season. Number 5, Marcus Carroll at Missouri, the 2nd Missouri running back to transfer there. He comes over from Georgia State, where he was a star, over 1,300 yards last season and 13 touchdowns. Also caught 20-plus passes for 230 yards. He should be the RB1 and should get a majority of the reps, and replaces Cody Schrader, who we all know was so good for Missouri last year. Number 4, Jarquez Hunter at Auburn. He's going into his 4th year at Auburn. Last season, he had over 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. He's just a stocky guy that can run straight through you, and he is so fast. Number 3, Montreal Johnson at Florida. Montreal followed Billy Napier from Louisiana to Florida back in 2022, and in all years of his college career, he has been so good. 800 plus yards rushing in all 3 seasons, and last year he really focused on his receiving and had 200 plus yards receiving last year, and he will be so beneficial for Florida in this make it or break it year for Billy Napier. And with Trevor Etienne gone, he will get a ton of touches, and so we'll really see how good he is this year. At number 2, Rocket Sanders at South Carolina. He's the new running back at South Carolina, just transferred from Arkansas. And last year was his worst year in college so far. It was riddled with injuries though, and Arkansas just did not have their offense together, and their O-line was absolutely atrocious. So I give him a lot of the benefit of the doubt from last season. He goes to South Carolina, And in 2022, he was one of the best running backs in the country, totaling over 1,700 yards and 12 touchdowns. We'll see if Shane Beamer and Lenore Stellers can get that same version, that 2022 version, out of him this season. But at number 1, Trevor Etienne at Georgia. He transferred from Florida to Georgia this offseason, and his brother Travis finally got his wish that he would leave Florida, and he did it. He really did it. Last season at Florida, though, he had 800 yards rushing and 200 yards receiving, as well as 8 touchdowns total. He's just a really good running back, and he will be Georgia's RB1 this season, and it will be really fun to see him in that offense. But yeah, guys, that is my SEC running backs ranking. I probably left some good guys out. I know I did. In fact, there were so many people in honorable mentions and people I just left out because that's how much talent there is in the SEC every single year. But if you like this video or disagree with this video, comment what you disagree with, like and subscribe. It helps the channel out so much. Follow us on TikTok at 3&OUT CFB, on Twitter 3&OUT_CFB. Next is my Big 12 running back rankings. Then I'll do ACC, Big 10, G5, and then I'll group them together and do a top 10 running back rankings. But appreciate y'all for watching.